starting the recording. So, hello, this is the fourth meeting of the joint project of TESOL-Italy and TESOL-Ukraine, where we are sharing the ways of teaching in two countries and are trying to learn more about the systems of education of both countries. And today here, we are really happy to have Iryna Zuyenok as our speaker. She is following the presentation of Oksana Chuhaya, who talked about the system of the ELT system in Ukraine. And Iryna will be talking today about ESP in Ukrainian universities. A couple of words about Iryna. She is an associate professor at Dnipro Polytechnical University, and she is also a very active member of TESOL-Ukraine, and she is the person who really moves ESP in Ukraine through her activities, through what she's doing. She is the director of the center in Dnipro, and she is the energizer of our organization. So please meet Iryna.
Buonasera, veniamo dall'Ucraina. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues and friends. It's a great honor for me to represent here Ukrainian ESP teachers community, Dnipro University of Technology and its Department of Foreign Languages, and share with you experiences of ESP teaching and learning at Ukrainian universities, changes which have been introduced since 1991 when Ukraine gained its independence. Oops. In my short presentation, I will try to describe a long path of introducing changes and innovations within the framework of the National ESP Curriculum for Ukrainian universities by giving the answers to the set of questions which you can see on the left. And I hope that by the end of my presentation, you will be aware of the innovations of the National ESP Curriculum implemented in ESP teaching learning at tertiary level, transformations in the concept of ESP university courses and syllabus design, including template, approaches and materials used for ESP teaching and learning in Ukraine, results of benchmarking and challenges faced, and our plans how to overcome them. So it is quite natural that I'm representing here the Department of Foreign Languages of Dnipro University of Technology. That is why I will apply mostly to the experiences of our department on whole and to my own experience in particular. And by the end of today's presentation, I would like to propose you a quiz, which will help to raise us cross-cultural awareness. Well, okay, as you know, ESP has a wide definition, and it may be interpreted in different ways. That is why it would be appropriate to start with answering the question, what is ESP in LT? What are its main constituents at your courses? You may unmute your microphone, you can type in chat, but it is very interesting. When we say ESP, everyone keeps in mind something maybe close to his or her experience. Any ideas? Oops. Someone has written down the slides don't move.
So try to move the slide, please.
So I need to stop sharing and coming back. Just a moment. Just a moment. Me again. Then here we are. Share screen. Share. Well, once again. And
It will work now.
No, let it be like this, because not to waste the time, you see. Is it okay for the majority of you? Well, so we are here. Here you can see the aim of this presentation. You can see the set of questions. You can see the expected outcomes by the end of the presentation. And now we are here. What is ESP in Italy? What are its main constituents if you use this scheme? It is very important to know where you are in understanding ESP. Is it English for professional purpose for you? Is it EAP? Is it EGP, ESP, EGOP, ESOP? It's very difficult because everyone interprets ESP in its own way. Any answers? Hello, no answers. Well, okay, it's okay. I haven't seen any answers. No unmuted microphone. It's about meeting specific needs. Absolutely. I agree with you, but needs are different. That is why the variety. Okay. When designing the National ESP Curriculum and implementing its innovations in the university classrooms, we kept in mind EAP because based on the students' needs to study and to take exams, and we take apart, keeping in mind pre-service EOP or PPP. That is the concept I would like to stress when we started design our curriculum, but it was 20 years ago. So let's have a brief look at the milestones of change introduced in Ukrainian universities. So you can see that as soon as Ukraine gained its independence, we underwent the training, which was organized by the British Council Ukraine in Business English course design, and which was someone has unmuted microphone. Sorry. Which was delivered by Nick Brigger, the leading authority in business English. And it was really a discovery for us because before we used lexical approach, grammar lexical approach, we also used much of translation. And it was a real discovery to find out that there is not only language knowledge and language skills, that there are basics of business or other field of study and professional language skills. And of course, we started introducing and implementing these innovations in our universities. But you know that in 2001, CFI appeared, which is called the Bible for any language teacher. And it was competence-based and dictionary-oriented to teaching languages, and descriptors of language behavior for all the levels were given there, as well as the variety of the competencies which should be developed during their EFL and especially ESP courses. I would like to stress that the majority of changes became possible thanks to the British Council Ukraine, who supports the initiatives of our Ministry of Education and Science, and of course, for our administration, our students, teachers, and during this long path of our development, many American experts also helped us. Firstly, Peace Corps volunteers, then Fulbright professors who guest lectured in our university. But you see that in 1999, the Bologna process was launched, and in 2000, Ukraine expressed its desire to join the Bologna process. CFI appeared, and it is quite natural that there was a need in ESP National Curriculum for Universities, because we wanted to be within the European higher education area. We wanted our courses to be compatible and comparable with any European universities. That is why the project was launched by the ministry, and we started with the baseline study of current situation of ESP in Ukraine, like a benchmarking. What we had as a result of teaching and learning simply AFL, and the result of that baseline study, you can see the whole book. We have shared it with everyone, and I would like to say it was the first step to changes. And I would like to stress that this baseline study, as well as the national curriculum, it was written by the representatives of the largest universities of Ukraine from various oblasts. There were only 10 teachers representatives, and I would like now to name oblasts who participated. There were representatives of Kyiv, Donetsk, Kharkiv, Mykolaiv, Sumy, and Dnipropetrovsk. Our city was called earlier, maybe now we are called Dnipro. And that is why you understand that in this baseline study, many students and teachers were involved, because the idea of it was to benchmark where Ukraine is and to make a proposal for the national ESP curriculum. So, and when we have done this baseline study, we wanted our curriculum, I mean Ukrainian one, to be the reflections of the voices of the as many ESP teachers as possible. That is why before 2003 and 2005, with the help and support of TESOL-Ukraine, TEFL-Ukraine, British Council Ukraine, we organized various conferences where we reported at each stage we were doing. And there may be, and I would like to express great gratitude from the Ukrainian ESP teachers, Turot Balaita and Mike Scully, who are real experts in ESP, who were with us from the baseline study, and even till now we are staying in touch, and we are do not need their consultations right now, but nevertheless we are still keep in touch. So the national ESP curriculum appeared, but there was a need of teacher training to do it professionally. People should be able to work with this curriculum, and you see this that we also trying to develop national trainer development scheme. Then you see in blue the steps of our university taken. We developed ESP University Standard. We designed English for Study and Work course book. And mostly all this time we were busy with piloting and implementing curriculum, finding maybe what can be improved, updated and upgraded. And you see in 2015, the new project was launched, which was caused by the aim of internationalization of higher education of Ukraine. And this project was named English for Universities. It included benchmarking in 2016 and 2015. And I would like to say that the entry ticket to be participant of this project was B2 level, to be approved by APTIS exam. And this time, these trainings were organized not only for ESP teachers, but AMI teachers. I saw last Tuesday, Ivan Frenda, who was participated as trainer in this project. And I also would like to say thank you to Ross Wright and Tony Prince, who gave his training in EEP. Also, our AMI teachers were trained by British experts. So let's have a look at the next slide, which will give you the answer who. Oops, sorry. Here you can see the little stars or suns, which showed you what cities were the representatives and participants of various projects in ESP. I'm awfully sorry if I missed someone, but I wanted simply to show how many ESP teachers are involved in this process. And here you can see not only Kyiv as the capital of Ukraine, here you can see Kryvyi Rih, Uzhgorod, you can see here Sumy, Kharkiv, Mariupol, Zaporizhia, Dnipro. You see many cities all over Ukraine. But if I say about these cities, about these universities, it's not only about teachers, because you will agree with me that in the center of the teaching learning process are students, not only teachers. Well, and when speaking about changes, we need to find out the answers to the questions: where, when, who, for, and what for. And here I would like to say that we use in our university so-called specification given by the departments of various specialism areas. And here you can see place: non-linguistic universities of Ukraine, time allotted 6 ECTS credits, that is 180 academic hours, 40 minutes each, target groups of students undergraduate year 1, entry level A to B1, and you see target situation, study at the university and or future working place. We do not know where our postgraduates, I mean bachelors, will work, or maybe they will continue their study at master's degree course. It's very difficult to predict. That is why you remember that we started with EAP and EOP. But target level put by the ministry standards is B2. What is in the focus? In the focus, competencies. We use competence-based approach. General competencies, communicative language competencies, lifelong learning competencies. And the main aim put for us is to develop general and professionally oriented foreign language, in our case, English, communicative competencies necessary for adequate behavior in common situations typical for academic and professional environments. For Ukrainian teachers, you may also see this aim written in Ukrainian. Well, a little bit why? What is the aim of the course? And you will see that overall aim of ESP teaching and learning is to prepare our students to communicate effectively in their academic and professional environments. I would like to remind you that competencies are the sum of knowledge, skills, and the characteristics that allows a person to perform actions, to do some tasks. General competencies are those not specific to language, but which are called upon the actions of all kinds, including language activities. Communicative language competencies are those which empower a person to act using specifically linguistic terms. And very important, sometimes teachers forget about it, it is the life learning competencies, which were identified by the European Union, which are a prerequisite to adequate personal performance in life, work, and subsequent learning. And I would like to show you that this, you can see that bachelor's degree compulsory is from B1 plus entry level to B2. That is, the ministry put the aim for all universities teachers. And the same set of questions we always ask ourselves when we design a course. And let's have a look how an ESP university courses are designed in our university. We use this very easy scheme. As you see, it is some kind of cyclic by nature. And as you see, we start with the aims, and I shared with you the aim. which we see as societal demand for us. It's the demand of Ukrainian society for us as ESP teachers. And where can we then, you can see here that teachers and students are equal partners. We share our responsibility. We are no more teachers imposing and making students to do something that is not within their needs, as Mike mentioned. And that is why you are absolutely right that we start with needs analysis. And first of all, we use educational standards, which are called in English Education and Professional Program. Ukrainians know it is Освітня професійна програма, ОПП, and Educational and Qualification Standard. Ukrainians know it as ОКХ, Освітня кваліфікаційна характеристика, or even we try to find job descriptions, if we have access to them, to find out what language skills will our students need in their future job. These standards help us to analyze target situation and find out target needs. So you understand, target put by the society. And the language competencies described there correspond to the aim of the course for the specific specialism area, because these all programs, they are also competence-based. As soon as the aim identified, we can predict expected learning outcomes, bearing in mind that school leavers should have B1 plus according to the national standard for secondary school. Learning outcomes are formulated using descriptors given in CFA, or better, you can take them from the National ESP Curriculum, because their descriptors given them derived from CFA and made for levels B1 plus, B2, and C1. The outcomes and their descriptions are used for designing assessment procedures and instruments, as well as assessment criteria. Having analyzed target situation and predicted outcomes, there is a need to find out learning needs, learning gaps and lacks by using entry testing and or results of formative assessment if we're somewhere in the middle of the academic year. Of course, it would be beneficial if concurrently with testing entry level, a teacher will try to identify or use some tests to identify learners types and learning styles. So the learning needs allow ESP teachers to correlate the course to the particular group of students and put learning objectives, which in our case we see as learning strategies on the way to reaching learning outcomes. So, and where it will be very nice if you pay attention to learners' needs and their learning styles. The outcomes reached by students through the course and by its end are measured with the help of ongoing assessment, formative assessment, and summative assessment made by the end of module and the course on whole. The results of assessment are evaluated by us, as well as students' performance during a lesson, a module, term, or course. If there are any lacks and gaps, we find out, the course should be tuned to fill in them by selecting materials, applying appropriate for this purpose approaches, and such process proves the effectiveness of so-called negotiating with students at each stage of teaching learning process, and demonstrates the role of evaluation for quality assurance. During the course, you need to trace where your students are all the time. For example, at the beginning of the task and by the end of the task, at the beginning of the lesson and by the end of the lesson, at the beginning of the module and by the end of the module. But inside the scheme, sorry, I have put, but it disappeared. Here is the content, you see, because this is some kind of framework that you keep in mind, and here should be content. And we need to think about what is the content of an ESP syllabus? What shall we focus on? Topics or skills, functions or notions? How do you think? What you do, I would like to give you half a minute to think about. Is it so easy to decide what to focus on? Any ideas? You might type in chat and I will see, but I see nothing in chat. Well, okay. Hope you will agree that skills, situations close to real life, texts of the genres typical for this or that specialism area, vocabulary used in them, topics on basics in the study, in the notions used, functions and functional exponents, grammar, knowledge, make the content of an ESP course. But the main problem that in real life, they do not exist separately. That is why I show you them as puzzle. And what is the way out? And the way out was proposed by the National ESP Curriculum, which is modular in its structure. And each module is based on generic study and job-related skills identified, generic job-related areas and situations, study and job-related level descriptors for assessment, and functional exponents. But the majority of them you can find in Vantage, Oxford University Press. And this slide demonstrates all the innovations gathered in one scheme. You can find it here, everything, because here you find that this is compulsory bachelor's degree course, which starts with needs analysis. You see EPP, I told you all these things, and then entry testing, and you see the aims, and you see that the competencies include learning objectives, which makes the content of the course on the way to outcomes. But I would like to say, as in those time, the time allotted was 270. We predicted 5 modules, which are self-contained ones, and I would like to give you the names. It's not a secret. They were socializing in an academic and professional environment, reading for specific purposes, giving presentation, participating in discussions and meetings, and communicating in writing. Unfortunately, the time allotted to the obligatory ESP course has been shortened to 180 hours, 6 credits on whole. So based on the evaluation and its analysis, we a little bit reorganized the course in 4 modules, where generic job-related skills of participating in discussions partially were included in the module socializing, as discussing, use and exchanging information. And partially it went to the module given presentations as a question and answer session you typically used by the presentation itself. So the challenge has brought us to revise the syllabus template. Here it is written in 2 languages, a little bit for you to be aware how Ukrainian looks like. So you can see the syllabus template is module number and name, entry level, you fix time allotted, aim of module, brief description of the module, objectives, learning outcomes, following the some models you see as a result of their learning. By the end of the course, students will be able to, or by the end of module, learners are expected to. If you remember, I started my presentation. By the end of my presentation, participants will be aware of. And then content. All this, the experience of implementing our curriculum into practice showed us that we were too ambitious to focus on EAP and pre-service EOP. We revised it, and because the main problem is that the first year students, they are not immersed in the specialism. They learn only basic subjects. That is why it is impossible to immerse them in profession, not being a specialist. Even if we use team teaching and collaborating with our subject teachers, Believe me, it's impossible. So we agreed, we revised the concept and agreed that first year students, freshers to the universities, will learn general EAP, English for general academic purposes, and general EAP. Of course, they will be use their some text, but not, we have no right to immerse them into their specialism area in English, not being an AMI teacher. And right now, our action-oriented syllabus, which is focused on generic job-related skills, looks like this. So you can see the first module is socializing in academic and professional environment, which is focused on adapting our students to the academic environment mostly. There we try to share with our students corporate structure of the university. We also try to make some our group structure at English classes, but it is mostly connected with socializing. And personally, I built this course on the main, how to say, challenges I faced when I was in England, in English university for the first time. Because I have been learning English for the time for 40 years, imagine. And I saw what I do not ready to do and I need to develop. Then the second module, and you will see that it is like a snowball, it is cyclic in nature, and it goes, you say everything is interconnected. Then reading for specific purposes, searching for information using the internet, obtaining and processing information. And of course, we just have finished the module giving presentations, including further discussions of the information presented, both in written and oral. And the last one, which is communicating and writing, but we focus on application procedure because it is the only obligatory course for our undergraduate students. And right now we are learning how to write the letter of application, CV, resume. We are on the way to finish our academic year and the course on whole. But it's very interesting. Then when students learn how to give the presentations, they use the text processed in the previous module. You see, they use, remember, discussions. They have some hints and some ideas how to discuss in the being in the social environment and academic, then they use them here. That is easify and make the process faster. And here I would like to share with you the main components of the module design. And what I want to maybe to stress the main idea, which is why I asked the question about grammar, that grammar or language structures, they not learned as a knowledge. They are learned and taught implicitly, hidden in context, maybe using different text types and text genres. And the other challenge of use of syllabus template was a desire somehow to illustrate the integration of all the elements you remember in puzzle we gathered at the beginning of my presentation. We wanted somehow to help teachers to understand that everything in ESP course is interconnected. And we designed within the project English for Universities, and you remember 30 universities participants. I hope representatives of them are here right now. We have designed such very interesting instrument, very easy to use. Here you can see the number of hours and the names of main job generic related skills. Here you can see, I know, skills and strategies, if I'm not mistaken. Then obligatory, we write down what text types to be used. But I would like to say, when you go to the reading for specific purposes, it will be nice if you team teach with the subject teachers. Oh, disappeared. Marina, is I'm here?
Yes.
Yes, yes, you are here. Yeah.
Do you see my presentation?
No, no longer.
Is it your presentation or what is it? Yeah.
Yes, just stop present. It disappeared. Just a moment. Again.
And what about Zoom Pro just got better, no?
Just a moment. I will try.
Because it's not my screen.
I know.
I believe someone started presentation, her own presentation.
Okay.
Do not worry. Now it is much more better than before. Repetition, yeah, will help us. The scheme, again, just a moment. We are here and make components of the module. You remember we stop, and here you can see this template, the upgraded template of the which we use for each of the modules. It's very easy to use by the teachers, by the materials writers, and the assessors, because all the information of the course within one table. Here you can see get into it is module, if I'm not some kind of, if I'm not mistaken, socializing. Here special related skills we can see. Here some strategies, socializing in oral and IC, socializing in written. Then grammar materials, which is implicitly in context. Then some kind of topics or notions. You can see that here just goes personal identification, relationship, I see, problems of students, and so on and so forth. So everything as you see in one table. And this table is finished with the assess and learning outcomes. How? And I would like to say that though we have the descriptors, you can find it by the intro module, everything taken with the descriptors. Here we can have a list of the instrument, but the main problem is how to make our assessment and the results of assessment valid and compatible with those of the international institution. This is the main idea, how identify that it is exactly the level B1 plus or B2. And I would like to say, honestly, that assessment is a bottleneck of our ESP courses. Though, of course, we can assess the progress. Always we have very hot discussion. What are we assessing? The progress of learning English or the level? But as far as I understand, we need somehow to identify the level. So then the next slide, it summarizes the main problems faced. Some of them we have decided already and solved, but I would like to pay attention to the last point here, which is hybrid model or distance and remote learning. And what we kept in mind, how to transform from the teaching learning process from face-to-face or blended learning into remote at distance in case of emergency, like we had quarantine caused by pandemic. Now we have the war conditions or maybe disasters, because you know that the model you use in the classroom, it is quite different from that used online. Some possible ways out was decided at the departmental meeting, and you will see there, here them. It is updating of syllabuses, developing instruments for getting feedback and quality assurance. It is done together. Feedback on the course modules is being done each end of the module to provide ongoing evaluation through the course by developing quality assurance strategies. We're on the way to piloting them and maybe trying different ones. Developing online materials done. Hybrid model is on the way. Action research in the virtual how innovations work is being done. Then discuss the share exchange the findings of action research at different levels is being done right now. So you see, I would like, I'm not sure I can't see the time because I want to be within the time. And that is why, if time permits, I will go further with house approaches. Who can help me with timing? Marina?
If you want, you can just have a couple of minutes if you
Okay,
feel you need.
I will try to be as brief as possible. And I want to share with you some main criteria for selecting an approach, which personally I use and which is the result of my experience. You will understand it comes from the everything said before, that they should create real world relevance in real life situations, provide opportunity for creativity and academic learning. And of course, we need to develop high order thinking skills, provides opportunity for reflection. Very important is to teach our students the value of mistakes and to help them to accelerate learning. So, and I would like again to stress that here's the role of teacher as a facilitator. And the better you know where your students are, the better you're aware of different approaches, the more effective you will be. And here I would like to share the main approaches used in ESP. They are task-based, learning-centered, experiential learning, action learning, reflective practice, constructivism. And I would like to make you to think about what is common in the following approaches. Maybe they're not on the list, I put only the main one, and personally I use in my classroom. How do you think? What is in common? What do they have in common? Personally, I see that they all are focused on learning from own experience by taking part responsibilities for the results of learning by students themselves, not teaching in the traditional sense. And the key here are actions in the situations, simulating and modeling typical and real life situations, reflecting on it and constructing new knowledge while interacting with materials, texts, and resources, group mates while performing tasks. Let's have a look very briefly to student-student interaction within the task-based approach. I hope you all know this, that we have pre-task activities, task close to real life, communication practice, repetition, using various types of activities, sorting, classifying, which are based, you remember, on Bloom's taxonomy, because this is the only way to develop higher order thinking. And output task or post task, a piece of writing or simulation, role play, project work, etc. Here, I would like to share a reflective model. If to look at task-based learning from the perspective of reflection, you can also find that they are again interconnected. You can find many interesting things, because if you start per task brainstorming what you know on the topic, in order to identify where your students are and activate their schemata, then you will give think, pair, share, discussing a statement or topic, applying to the personal experience. It will be concrete experience. The task itself, it includes such stages of reflections as reflective observation about the experience in a search for meaning. Reading, listening here can be for information, reading, listening for comprehension, language use practice, controlled practice. And of course, post-task, it is active experimentation. After you have done the tasks, of course, everyone has conceptualized or have made some kind of mind picture in their mind, and they can consolidate everything learned in writing and speaking. And here is the model which we used when designing our course book, English for Study and Work, which firstly consists of book one, part and class activities, self-study resources, and grammar review and practice. But after piloting the first version, with the help of our students, I told you that we always try to listen to our students. And nowadays, it is a course book which consists of 4 books. Each one corresponds to the separate module. And with the help of our students, we a little bit redesigned it. There you can find part 1 in class activities for each of the module. Part 2 is self-study resources and tasks for self-study. And the third part is assessment, including self-assessment, with some keys for the tasks they are given for the most difficult. And in socializing, we have language to go, and our students ask there. Here you can find functions and functional exponents, and our students to ask them to put it at the end of the book, just in case they can cut it when they're going abroad and put in their pockets. That is why, you know, that that was our idea, and now we're trying to take some ideas and working on the hybrid model. How can we revise something? Because if you look here, unfortunately, of course, you can share focus on and outcomes online. You can do brainstorming, but you will use Jamboard or other instrument or Padlet. Then you need Mind Master. You see, it is what I want to say is that when you are not in the classroom, it's not so easy to keep to this model. That is why it should be revised. But what I want to pay attention to, that when we are working with text, especially in reading, we use that approaches, you know, that we use text as a vehicle of information. First, the students are proposed to find the information, and only then we make focus on language, or maybe students. Sometimes it's very interesting in their feedback they write. They had, for example, reading, I didn't give translation, and they, in reflective assignment, they wrote. As the result of this model, I'm now very good in translation and know many terms. And I asked them, but I never give you to translate the text. But this was very interesting, and we translate it, and I say it is byproduct. That was why do not be afraid to focus more on content than, for example, of language, if it is not a really stepping stones for understanding. That is why. And here I would like to show us our digital space, because now we are working online. And here you can see the platforms we use. We use Microsoft Teams for imitating real life classroom. You can see my Teams here, and you can see how I use real home task. You can read if you are interested. Here we share the materials, the links to some audio, video. Here also you see the assignment and a module on reading for professional purposes. But we also have our distance learning platform, which is based on Moodle, and it looks like this. Here you can see my private office. Here you can see the courses, and the ESP Business Travel, for you to know, it is not obligatory but optional. English for media literacy also optional. Okay, here you can see ESP. Here you can see EPP for master's degree. Here you can see the description. And the materials, and what I would like to say is that this course is fully organized using the original authentic materials donated, as I said, as a result of training, and I'm very grateful. And even here, I'm not mistaken, academic, I know, maybe you can see here, and I know that Robert Petit, who gave a course on academic integrity, he shared with us some lectures, and when starting the module academic writing, we always start with his lecture, because academic integrity is very important, and then students analyze it, whether it is good plagiarism, what is it, and how can we avoid it. And this next question, I give them cheating. Is it a referent or a FOIA? I made them to think about, is it cheating good? So a little bit of didactic principles also used. And that is all. Thank you for being so patient and attentive, and I will be happy to answer any questions you have. But I also invite my colleagues, ESP teachers who are here, to participate in this discussion and share your experience. So, questions?
Can I thank Iryna for a very interesting, informative, and very clear presentation. Thank you so much, Iryna. I found also many interesting similarities with the previous presentation, the bridge, the image of the bridge.
Yes.
And it fits with the title of our joint webinar, Sharing Context Across Cultures. So thank you very much, Iryna.
Seryoja has a question. Sergey, you're welcome. Hello from Dnipro to Kyiv. Sergey,
yeah, hello, everybody. I'm sorry, it's a little bit dark in here because we don't have electricity, and I'm just using my internet connection from the phone and sharing it with my laptop. And I don't have like a lot of charging in my computer, but still. Iryna, I really appreciate a thorough study that you have done for this presentation. I like the structure of your presentation, which was created similarly as it was an ESP course. So, okay, I see some problem with internet. At the beginning, you tried to fulfill the needs analysis of how we understand the notion of ESP. Then you provided the learning objectives, then the presentation itself. And I'm sure that you even wanted to assess our knowledge in the end. However, we were limited of time to do so. You have mentioned that the first year students are not into their major yet, as they predominantly study general disciplines. That's the only one side of the coin. Another one is that the students are expected to have a B1+ level of English language proficiency at the entry to the ESP course, according to the Ministry of Education of Ukraine. Unfortunately, not all of them have at least B1 level. Some of them are A2 or even beginners, or we as teachers of English have mixed level students in one group. But the university syllabus demands to teach ESP instead of general English during the first year of studies. What are the possible solutions to cope with such problems?
Thank you for your question. I kept this in mind, but I told that I tried to be as brief as possible. That is, I would like to mention that at the beginning, we tried to find out the entry level of our students, and I have found very easy instrument is the Learning English platform of British Council, and there you know that you can test your level, and it gives a percentage. What we do, we try to organize groups with the students who are of higher level to be within one group to feel them comfortable. Because, of course, I'm aware of differentiation, but I think that we can't be so effective if we have different level students in one group. And our students, I would like to say that we have extracurricular activities, and I didn't mention, but Marina or someone mentioned that we have regional learning hub, where free consultations are proposed for students. And of course, as teachers will have consultations. And if they need, of course, they can take additional courses, but unfortunately not for free, to catch up. And I would like to say that sometimes students with the lower level who took additional courses in the linguistics center, not at the department, they, by the end of the course, their level were higher than those who took course, because they were more motivated. They were, and I know this guy is now in Lithuania, not because of the war, but he's there was the idea, according to the academic mobility, that the second year he will be studying abroad. Sorry. And what I want to say is that you can use this instrument. Some people are a little bit skeptical, but I use the same test by the end of the semester, and my students put their certificate downloaded for free and compare how many percentage they get during the course and during the semester, for example. And they very interesting, it's very often corresponds with my subjective grade for this module. And then by the end of the course, they again take this test And imagine sometimes there is some kind of breakthrough with the lower level. They are going faster. I do not know what's the reason. I know that my practice shows that if a student motivated and they're doing all the tasks, perform everything what is done, and maybe ask additional tasks, they are always a success. Does it make any sense for you, Sergey? Does it make any sense for everyone who are present here? How we deal? Well, any other questions? I will be happy to, someone has wrote, I will look at chat, it's about meeting specific, very effective planning programming points. It's more about feedback. If there is no question, while you're thinking on question, I have prepared, I decided to demonstrate it, how my students learn English, and to answer the question about culture. You remember, I wanted to share how we develop our students' cultural awareness, not only of the corporate culture of the university and Ukrainian culture, but also they have some specialism areas which connected to the international relations. It's obligatory project work, but for the non-linguistic, it is additional, it is optional, but it gives bonuses. And I would like to share with you the results of the project work of my students who decided to explore Italy. And they have found very interesting information. But unfortunately, being here in Ukraine, I am not sure that it is true. That is why I would like to propose some kind of quiz based on their findings and to compare Italian culture and Ukrainian one. Just a moment, I need to share my screen again. Just a moment. It's here. Oops, no, it is here. Sorry. So it's a real title page of the presentation made by my students. You can see the name of the project work, Country Cultural Profile. They decided to find out, to choose Italy. It was their choice. You can see the real life names of these. They are now graduates of the International Relations Specialism area. And they decided to research culture, traditions, business etiquette, etiquette at the table, and gestures. And the task was to find as much as possible about the culture of the country, compare with Ukrainian, and make some kind of recommendations how to behave adequately, be in this or that country. And I would like, so I would like to read what they have found. It's very interesting. I hope you will agree or disagree, I do not know. Italy is a country with a very rich culture. I agree, history, culture, we know. Italians are very hospitable people with good manners. And I would like you maybe to vote about hospitality of Italians, because Ukrainians are very hospitable people too. And which is why it is customary to say hello and a kiss at a meeting. Who can, from Italians, who can tell me, is it true or not? It is not, Sergey, it is not a test. I only want to raise the awareness. It is really true that at a meeting, we need Italians say hello and a kiss. I can see you, sorry. Is it true or false? Maybe you can use chat and type in minus or false, F or T, for us to understand. Then they like to talk about family, especially men who are most attached to their parents. But you never need to argue and condemn Italian food. I see someone have put something in chat. True, 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 true. Because it's very interesting. Imagine we can access. No one has ever been to Italy. but for students, it's very important. Well, okay. Then very interesting, they decided to found very interesting things. Just a moment. There is a set of statements and, oops. So quiz, true or false? So eating is very important for Italians. You may write down for each, or you may write down for the first set of questions from 1 to 6 to read and to put T or F if it is false. We will be very grateful. And I would like, for example, Ukrainians. If to change Ukrainians, I would like you also to put true or false. Whether eating is very important for Ukrainians, whether Ukrainians are very fond of wine, whether Ukrainians drink coffee only in the morning. So what you need to put there, number and T or F. And it will be easy for, it will be very easy to follow. No answers yet. Thank you, Mike has written that men kiss often men on the cheeks on special occasions. Thank you ever so much. 3 false. It's very interesting. We have Natalia Lisnova who said the 3 false and Italians. Very nice. You see, that is why I decided not to show you presentation, but to make it like a quiz. Well, okay. Any other questions you would like to answer? I see only 3. Personally, I'm highly interested in question. It's for me, pasta is not watered with ketchup in Italy. Is it true or false? I would like to say why I'm insisting on this question, because in Ukraine, the majority of Ukrainians always water pasta with ketchup, especially spaghetti. That is why for me it is very interesting whether, I see false, 6, living in Italy is not accepted. It's very nice. If we in Italy, we will keep this in mind. No, I never do that. Italians do not prefer soda. Pasta is not what's really true. Great. My students are great. It's about assessment, evaluation of their work. Delayed a little bit. Wow, so many truths. And then please, this is the questions, a set of questions connected with business. How, if you have business partners among the Italians. And I was a little bit surprised that punctuality is not a priority for Italians. I really do not know. In Italian business culture, gifts given is not particularly common because it is very, I think about gifts given, because some countries it's a good tradition. Personally, I like give Ukrainian gifts for my friends who are coming to Dnipro from other cities. We have Petrikivka here. And for me, it is, I think, this is a part of Dnipro and Dnipropetrovsk Oblast. I always think that they need to take with them. It's nothing special. The same, for example, with our trainers by the end to say thank you and to pass a piece of Ukraine, something original, traditional. And then very interesting, dress and presentation plays an important role in Italian culture. It is very interesting for ladies. And as you see, the authors of this project were 3 ladies. They were 20 years old. Maybe for them it is very important. Well, the same, depends on whether they go, the same as I take for Ukrainians. Minor differences, seriously, absolutely, I know. I also think that we have much in common with Italians. Thank you, Sergei Lelko. Whether they can have about Americans. So ketchup is not popular in Italy. Thank you, yeah. very interesting ideas, very valuable. It's really, I'm very grateful. So, and now the most interesting part of my presentation is about gestures. Because when we watch Italian films, we see that Italians has very good body language and gestures. And my students have found some gestures that will help Ukrainians to understand what Italians want to say. And here, the first one, and they would like maybe someone to unmute your microphone. Whoops, something happened. So gestures. Wow, who knows, Ukrainians, who knows, what does it mean? Any ideas? Very interesting.
Probably a little bit.
You think a little bit Italians, what Italian teachers, what will you say? What does it mean?
A detailed information, maybe.
We need a prompt. We think that just a moment. I want to listen to our Italian, I swear, Ira Ivanchenko, think, Lina, but I want to, because I have the answer, I'm not sure whether it is right. That is why I'm not announcing. I want to listen from Italian teachers, sorry. But then I will, if they are keeping silence, I will say what is written, was written in that project. What do you mean, Lynn? Absolutely. What do you mean? Thank you. What are you saying? And the, my ladies from my group, they found what do you want? Is it okay? What do you mean? What do you want? What are you talking about? Thank you ever so much. Now is the next one, the next gesture. Oops. What does this mean? It's very interesting. I will watch in chat for various predictions. Well, okay. What's this gesture? What are you talking about? It was this one. What are you talking about? What do you want? What do you mean? Okay. Well, Ukrainians, remember, what do you mean? What you are talking about? Here you think, listen to me. And I am waiting for Italian part. It's very interesting. I have the idea, but I'm not sure. Don't you understand me? Any ideas? TESOL-Italy, any ideas? Can you share with us what does this mean? Because it is, well, it was found in the internet. I'm not sure. I can't insist. I want to listen from you. Do you understand? It is Ukrainians are writing. Waiting for the Italians. No ideas? Well, okay. The next one. The third gesture, it's number 3. It means, what are you doing? Any ideas? Keep silent. Tatiana, calm down. Ukrainian things that is calm down. Like, what are you asking me? Your problem, Anna Smith Road, your problem. Many interpretations. Well, okay, it's okay. And the last one. I won't tease you too much. And here's the last one to think about, but in business, nonverbal and what the language says must come down, come down, come down. It's this word I understand. And the fourth, the gesture. Well, okay, maybe so I have one more answer. Come down, my respect. What do you want to eat? Absolutely, yeah, because what, oops, sorry. What I have, maybe I'm mistaken. It is quotes, it is a real life project work. There is also project work done by my students. I do not know, I have references where they have found this information. But what I wanted to show, and now I will announce what they found. Imagine, if this information is false, this is disinformation for future business partners. What I want you to pay attention to. For example, they found that this is number 2. You see something like this. This is, they found that means horrible. Is it true or false? I have no idea. I'm here in Ukraine. I have never been to Italy. That for me, it is very difficult to say whether it is true or false. This one, they found that it means I'm hungry. That the majority of Ukrainians interpret it as come down. Because really, when we want to say come down, we show like this. That is why, imagine when we can even use in English, we can have misunderstanding due to the body language, to the gestures we use. That is, I wanted to pay attention because of course we needed our classes to also to teach this. And the last one is don't care. Thank you for being patient, that's all. Now it's all I wanted to share with you for today. That is why if you wish, you can write me, you can contact me, and I will be very happy to answer any questions and to share the materials which I can to share with you. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Iryna Ivanovna, hello everyone. I want to ask you just one question. Can you hear me?
Veronica, we really don't have time. Our
okay, sorry.
yeah, and
okay.
I think that everyone.
You will write me in Viber. You will write me in Viber.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
So thank you, everyone. Thank you for Iryna. Thank you for this wonderful presentation. Now our TESOL-Ukraine president will quickly say a word.
Hello, everybody. It's my pleasure to see all of you here and to participate in the fourth webinar of the series of webinars of TESOL-Italy for TESOL-Ukraine. And as we see today, it's a real forum of the English language teachers of 2 countries. Iryna, thank you for sharing your ideas and opening the door to your creative laboratory, to your research laboratory. And it was very, I believe it is very inspiring, not only for me, but for many teachers, more experienced and very young teachers. And I believe it will give a new impulse for us for further investigation when we see such a guide as Iryna and her work. Thank you for sharing, and thank you everyone for being present. We invite all of you for the next webinar of the series, which will take place next Tuesday. And the host there will be our partners from TESOL-Italy. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and have a nice weekend and have a peaceful night, and take care and stay safe. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Iryna.
Bye-bye, and thank you for being patient, but I wanted to entertain you a little bit. Sorry for maybe
You
taking
did
your time.
entertain us.
Iryna, thank you.
Bye-bye.
You're always
See you
welcome.
next Tuesday. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See you next Tuesday.